guys, we're back with another video. Today we're having a one-on-one video. Go ahead and introduce yourself, your name, and where you're from.
Oh, I am Levon Kirkland. I am originally from Lamar, South Carolina.
Oh, where is that close to? Down here.
Uh, it is close to, it's in Darlington County.
Mhm.
It's close, it's about 70 miles away from Myrtle Beach.
Oh,
It's
that's not
about
bad.
70 miles away from Columbia, which is the capital of South Carolina. So we're in there, but we're a small town. If you blink too fast, you might miss us.
Yes, that's the same thing I say about Georgetown. You can blink and you be like, "That's Georgetown." Yes, you just went through
Yes.
it.
If you run a 40-yard dash, you might be out of Lamar once you finish the dash.
That's
So,
funny.
hmm
So how was your childhood? How did you start the with the love of football? Like what did it like how did it go?
well, I am the youngest boy of 8 kids, so I'm number 7 actually.
Mhm.
So, my brothers they all played football and basketball on the high school level. I was the young kid that just kind of imagined playing ball. So really, I kind of manifest that I was going to play in the NFL. And I never played organized football until I got to the ninth grade. But when I got to the ninth grade, I mean, football kind of came easy to me.
Mhm.
And the next year, I was on varsity. And my coach, he had a meeting with me one time.
Mhm.
And he told me that he thought I can go to the next level. And that was the first time I heard somebody say anything like that. Because until when I was 11 years old, I believed I was going to go to pro, but to hear somebody else say you may go to the next level
Right.
kind of propelled me to really commit to the game, and that's what I did. And I ended up having a really good high school career. Ended up getting recruited at Clemson, and that's where it took off from.
Yes. So what teams or did you have any favorite teams growing up for NFL or you just didn't have any?
Yeah, my team back in the day was the Dallas Cowboys.
No.
Yeah, I was a big Dallas Cowboy fan. But you got to understand, in South Carolina during that time, there was not there was really the Panthers were not even a thought.
Mhm.
And so the only teams you saw was the NFC East and you saw the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
So most people that are from South Carolina, they're either Pittsburgh Steelers fans, are they Dallas Cowboy fans, are they Washington Redskin fans? So basically, I saw Dallas all the time, so Dallas was my team. But I can tell you a funny story. My father, who wasn't a big football person, he got me a gift one time, and my for Christmas, and my brothers and sisters were like, "You're gonna hate your gift. You're gonna hate your gift." And he actually gave me a Pittsburgh Steelers pajama set. And I did not like the Pittsburgh Steelers at all. But I ended up playing for them. That's kind of funny, I think.
Yes. So in high school, I mean not high school, in college, how was your experience like with the football, going to Clemson? How did you like it?
Oh, it was great. It really was. I remember going in and you're slightly intimidated, of
Right.
course, and you're dealing with guys who are, they're older, they're stronger, they're more experienced, and you have to compete against that, and you have to kind of catch up, and you have to adapt to it. So that wasn't really a big problem for me. Clemson was the school and how it's designed. It's tailor made for a guy who's from a small town. So it's not too much. It's not too big. It's not too overwhelming. And most of the classes are in a perimeter, just in a little space. So for me, it was a good experience. But yes, of course, you have some growing pains
Right.
and you have some things that you have to overcome. But for the most part, my experience at Clemson was really, really good.
Good. So I know you played linebacker. Have you ever thought about playing a different position, or have they ever, like, crossed your mind, like, growing
Oh
up?
yeah, well, when I was in high school, I played. I returned punts. I returned kickoffs. I
Mhm,
also played tight end and split end.
mhm,
So when they recruited me for Clemson, it was either I was going to be like a safety or a linebacker.
right.
So I was used to playing different positions in high school. But when I got to Clemson, it was basically, hey, you're gonna play outside linebacker. That really worked for me. But when I went to the NFL, I switched from outside linebacker to inside linebacker. So I always tell guys that, don't always get married to your position that you played in high
Right.
school because a lot of times your athletic ability may be better suited to another position. And that was for me because I thought in high school I was a wide receiver. But when I got to Clemson, I was an outside backer. I thought at Clemson I was the next Lawrence Taylor. Then when I get to Pittsburgh, they're like, hey, we want you to play something else, so you have to adjust, and that's what I ended up doing, adjusting. And I really liked playing inside backer when I was at with Pittsburgh and the other teams that I played with.
So when the draft came about, like, when you were in college, like, how was that experience for you? Was you happy? Was you kinda sad? How was it?
Oh well, it was definitely a joyous occasion because it's something that I wanted to do. It was something that was a big goal of mine. It was a big goal,
Mhm,
and to be able to have your name announced
mhm.
and for a team to initially want you, it's amazing.
Yeah,
But it comes with a lot of responsibility. It's like, you get married and you're thinking like, oh, it's going to be great. And
yeah,
then you get into marriage and you realize, man, this is a lot of work.
yeah,
This is, I have to be intentional toward this. And I was, you get there and you're like, wow, this is the best. And you get there and you're like, man, all these guys are so good. I
yeah,
have to really elevate my game. I have to really work hard. I have to have faith. I have to have confidence that I'm gonna get it done. And then also, you have to be fortunate. I was
yeah.
fortunate. I didn't get hurt or anything like that ever happening to me. So it was a joyous occasion. I mean I remember it well, getting that call from the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the team I wanted to play for
Oh,
because I talked to the coaches previous to the draft. So for me, it was a good experience. It was the team I wanted to play for, and it worked out well. I didn't really play a whole lot my first year, but my
mhm.
second year I ended up being a starter, and I started for like 8 years there. So it was a good experience. I really enjoyed it. The fans were fantastic. I played with some amazing players, some amazing coaches, in an amazing organization. So I had a good time as far as being an NFL player.
So I know you just piggybacked off of the Steelers, so now you're saying the Steelers was the best organization that you played for,
Well, it's the organization that I played the longest for.
the longest for.
Um, yeah, I mean, I like when I went to Seattle. I like
Mhm,
Seattle. When I went to
mhm.
Philly, I like Philly. It
Yes,
wasn't that. It's the reason why I'm saying Pittsburgh is because I had a longer tenure there. So I
right.
played there for 8 years, and I I mean, that was my experience.
Mhm.
But the other organizations were also good organizations. And I was happy that I was able to play for, Seattle and Philly because you get to experience different things and how things are run differently. And so that was good for me.
And how many, well, I know how many seasons you won. Tell the audience how many seasons you played for, and tell them how did it go, like, throughout the years since you played with
Oh,
them?
yeah. I played 11 seasons. I played 9 seasons for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I ended up being a 2 time Pro Bowler with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I actually won the NFL Alumni Linebacker of the Year
Mhm,
1 year. I was the MVP twice for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I was also voted for the All Decade team in the 1990s.
Okay.
And I played 1 year with Seattle, and then I played my last year with Philly, where we almost got to the Super Bowl. I did play in the Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl 30,
Yes.
and it was a good experience. I mean, like I said, I I lived kind of a charmed NFL experience, never really getting hurt or anything like that. I never missed a game from high school throughout college, throughout the NFL. So it was good. It was a good run. It was really a good experience for me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't ask for a better career. Only thing that I wish would have happened is we won a Super Bowl. That
Right.
would have been cool to be a Super Bowl champ, but it didn't work out that way. So, but other than that, there's no regrets. I had a great time, played against some great competition, and had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine how many good NFL players you met, like, through the years of playing on a team with Steelers and playing against these other teams. That's good. Like you been all that those players is Troy Palmer. Like you met some good players on the Steelers team.
Oh yeah, no question about it. I met some good players all around, and you get to talk to these guys. You get to compete against these guys. So the competition it gets no better than that. I
Mhm.
mean, the playoffs are the best. I love playing in playoffs games. They're the most fun. So yeah, you get to meet a lot of excellent people. You know, I think people kind of forget that these guys are not robots or machines.
Right.
They are human beings, and I can testify that they're some of the best people that you ever want to meet. Football players are some of the best guys that you ever want to meet. They're guys that you honestly want to you wouldn't mind introducing to your daughter because think about it, they're very hard workers.
Yes.
They're intelligent. They know how to so they're excellent people.
So how is the afterlife of playing in NFL? Like what's your career after? Like what are you doing now?
Well, I am the NIL coordinator for Clemson University football team.
Okay.
So, but before that, I've done several other things before what I'm doing now. Before that, I was in admissions at Clemson University. So I worked in admissions for 5 years. A lot of people don't know that. I coached high school
Mhm.
for a few years, maybe 5 or 6 years. I coached at FAMU in
Mhm.
Tallahassee, Florida for 2 years. And I also coached with the Cardinals for 2 years. I also was the vice president of development for the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. So I actually did quite a few things. And now, like I said, I am the NIL coordinator for the football team at Clemson University.
That's good. So how's the transition? Is it like since you can't, be on the field anymore, is it still a good transition since you're working with the kids, like working with the older ones?
Well, I think it's an adjustment.
Mhm.
I would never say that it's easy, no matter if you were a Hall of Famer or you only played 3 years or you play 11 years like myself. It's a transition because you're so accustomed of living a lifestyle. You're so accustomed of doing things at a certain time. And then all of a sudden you have to kind of change gears.
Right,
And now you have to be more of a critical thinker. Before then, you know, your schedule was kind of already thought out.
right.
You kind of knew where you're going to be all the time. Now, after you finish, it's kind of on you
Yeah,
to create your own life and make it happen.
yeah,
And for some people, it's very difficult. For some people, it's less difficult. They usually have a plan before they do it. So I think every player their transition is a little different than the other players. So for me, it took me a while to kind of get to where I'm at right now.
So I know that you made a children's book. What made you want to go in that direction to make that?
You know, honestly, I've always wanted to write a book, but I never had in mind that I'll write a children's book.
Mm,
I was convinced by my publisher,
mhm.
uh, I call her Dr. Sonia, and she was like, have you ever written a book before? I'm like, no. She's like, have you ever written a children's book? I'm like, oh, especially not. And what happened was I was doing a speech for the Greenville Drive baseball team, their minor league baseball team.
Mhm.
And it was for the Greenville News. And basically, it was talking about what happens after your career is over with.
Right.
And the reporter that asked me to do it, he kind of helped outline
Mhm.
my speech for me.
Right.
And I look back on it, I was like, you know what? I could just take this story
Mhm.
and write a book. And so I started writing a book, and then I kind of changed it to more of a children's book.
Right.
And, you know, I put a little creativity in there, put a little fear and doubt. And I just basically told my story and, you know, just try to relate it to younger kids.
Right.
And it talked about, you know, having faith and, you know, how to accomplish your dreams. But I'm going against these two monsters called fear and doubt the whole time through my journey. So it's just a more colorful, bolder expression of my childhood growing up.
Mhm. That's good. A lot of people don't wanna write books, so that is good, especially on being on Amazon. Guys, I'll link all of those down below. I also link the book, I'll link his social medias, all that stuff like that, and we'll see you in the next video. If you do wanna say anything, any encouraging words to the people out there that's gonna be watching.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I would tell everybody in life, you have to be your own creator
Right,
and that you have to forgive yourself for your past mistakes. You have to forgive yourself for limited beliefs. And I think once you forgive yourself, you're going to find a relief that comes over you
right,
because all of us grow up, and it's really, we're taught different things.
right,
And a lot of times we're taught limited beliefs. We're taught, you know, how to walk, how to talk, all kind of things. And a lot of times as you get older, it doesn't serve you as well.
right,
So I think a lot of time I would tell the audience, you know, forgive yourself for past mistakes and sins and become the creator of your life and tell your story. And I think if you do that, you will find yourself more fulfilled. You will find yourself with more purpose.
okay, guys, you hear from him. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.